Oh, welcome back. We're just making another video. I'm going to get behind the light board in a moment and show you a few things to work on adding and subtracting numbers. Now, we're going to be talking about some terms that may be new to you. You haven't thought about this. You've just got on with the business of doing all the things in your daily life, adding things together, subtracting things. And a lot of that we do up here in our head, and we look in the textbook and we've got all these complicated words for addition. Something normally we would say plus or add, we get instructions for the sum of. For subtraction, we might say take away or minus. However, the instructions in the textbook might be the difference, and that is the word that mathematicians use for subtraction. So I'm going to be talking about things that we already know about, like when we add numbers, we know that the order doesn't matter. So we've got commutative laws and associative laws that don't seem to make much difference when we do things in our head, but that idea is something we need to just understand a little bit better. When we see those words, we know exactly what they mean. So in the process of our daily lives, adding and subtracting numbers, we're probably doing different strategies that we're going to put a label on, like partitioning, compensating. We might be getting the answer by doubling and halving. Now we're behind the light board, and I've just set this up as with the mental strategies that we're going to use. In the book you will see that referred to as partitioning. You will see instructions for work through compensating, and there'll be instructions there for you to double and halve the numbers. Now, perhaps you've been doing this kind of work without having the fancy label on it, and I suspect that's the case, okay? And what I've got up here in the orange is just a reminder from the previous work that we've done, particularly when we're working with these mental strategies. We're thinking about place value in the hundreds column, the tens column, and the units column. They're all whole numbers. So I think I'm going to use the partitioning strategy here and break this apart a little bit. And the temptation here for this exercise is to, you hear the words mental strategies and you just think about the answer. And I've got to say to you right now, it's not just about the answer. Hopefully we get the answer right. But on our paper, we show the way we went about it. We demonstrate that we understand the technique here. So I'm looking at this as perhaps, I think there's 200s there. Plus, I'm looking in the tens column there and I'm seeing 80. And in the units column, there's 2 plus 6 is 8. So here's a way that, and then underneath here, I'll join all, sorry, wrote the wrong number, that needs to be an 8, and instead of doing it all in my head, I've documented how I was thinking about it. Okay, you could have, if you wanted to, at this stage here, you could have written that out as 100 plus another 100 plus 30 plus 50 plus 2 plus 6 and written it something like that. What I've done is just combined a step. I'm just asking you to think about, when you're using this partitioning strategy, just to think about what's in each place, so in the hundreds, and my brain can work with that okay. I'm hoping that you can do something similar here. So let's try another question and show you another technique here. So let's work with this question here. I've got another addition, 35 plus 19. When I write this out of the textbook, I'm already thinking about making some adjustment. So I'm using a compensating strategy here. I'm looking at 19. I'd really like to write that as 20. So, but if I do that, I might use, out of the 5 here, I might change that to a 4 and just add 1 there. So in actual fact, what I write is 34 plus 20. And then I do the final step where I add these things together to get 54. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you another sum here just to work through, and we could talk about this. Let's make it 56 subtract 18. A little bit tricky. So what I'm thinking, if I did 56 subtract 20, I would be a little bit off, but because I subtracted 2 extra, I can adjust by adding 2 more. So if I do this bit, which is nice and easy, so that's going to be 36 plus another 2, my final answer will be 38. Okay, so there's another just demonstration of how you can adjust what you see in front of you and get to the correct answer quickly. Let's try another one. I've got, let's make this up, 45 plus 47. What I want to use here is the doubling method here. I look at this and I'm just going to write it out. I realize we're working on mental strategies, but I'm trying to document what I'm doing here. So 47 is 45 plus 2. And now I can look at either add 2 lots of 45, or I can just write out the answer, I guess, 92. Okay, but what I saw, and I'm going to rewrite this again, what I was thinking here, I was looking at these 2 numbers and I was multiplying this by 2 and adding 2. So maybe you could write it like this, plus 2. And that's our doubling strategy, and it gets us to the same place. The final thing I want to talk about, and I really like doing this kind of work because there's a lot of processing going on, and there's a lot of skill development, so magic squares are great in my eyes. So I'm going to get you to do some out of the textbook. I just want to set them up and talk to you about them. I'm going to stick some numbers in here. Five. I've got that twice. So that needs to be a 2. Does that work out? Let's check if it works out, because we haven't been told what the magic number is, but this is a complete square. So the idea behind magic squares is you get an incomplete, you get some numbers, but you don't get the complete, all the boxes filled out, and it's your job to fill them in. So I'm looking here, 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 6 is 15, and all the rows, I'm thinking 3 plus 7 plus 5 is 15, 9 plus 2 is 11, plus 5 is 15, and even on the diagonals here we should get 15. I'm just double checking that I've got this right. And the idea is that if you don't know the number, you'll always be given enough information from one row to work out what the magic number needs to be, and you just need to use the remaining digits between usually between 1 and 9 to fill in the box. Okay, so if you haven't seen that before, that's the basics of how to do the magic squares. I really encourage you to get in there and give them a go.